welcome everyone. We are going to dial into how to take more listings in quarter 1 and what are best practices, right, Aaron?
Well, yeah, and it's more how do we set ourselves up? Like, what should the day look like such that we can take more listings? And this is something, Emily, that I know you coach to, I coach to. This is going to be fun today. I'm excited. So, as always, we got to make sure that we are being TCPA do not call compliant in your practice. Okay. Uh, you've been warned. Now, Emily, who are you? Why should we listen to you?
Yeah. So I am out of Ozark, Missouri. So if you've seen the show The Ozarks, it's like that without the cartel. But I am based out of here, got into real estate in 2013, and I was on a team, developed lead gen, listing systems, trained listing agents to take over 100 listings per year each. Our team was taking on average 50 listings per month. So from there, now I am an executive coach and I co-lead with Aaron the Take More Listings Now, as well as Convert Sellers to Closings training.
Yeah, so I've been doing this, Emily, for 21 years. I'm in San Diego, which, as you know, is the home of Anchorman. A little bit more fun than Ozark. However, at the height of our production, I was averaging 25 listing appointments per month, right? Over 1,200 listings sold. And I think the thing that I want you guys to understand is what we share with you about today. It's not theory, right, Emily? This is not like good ideas. This is, from, what we do and still do inside of our businesses, correct?
That's right.
Yeah, this is real practice. This is not theory. So let's, shall we jump right into it?
Yeah, let's dive in.
All right, so we're going to start with setting up the ideal morning schedule because, Emily, too often what we hear from the stage is you got to lead gen for 2 to 3 hours a day. And too often we look at our clients and they have in their schedule, right, a time block, a 2 hour time block called lead gen.
Yep.
And I don't know about you, Emily, but how many of your clients actually know what to do in that 2 hour block?
Oh, they don't, which is why we adjust it to being specific, right? Such that you don't replace it with something else or get paralysis by analysis because you're like, you open your CRM and you're like, where do I even start?
Well, listen, if I just walk into the gym without a plan, I'm probably not going to get much done, right? I don't know, should I go to the machines? Should I go to the free weights? Should I go to the like treadmill? To your point, I didn't get paralyzed. Maybe I do a couple things and I leave, but I wasn't very efficient. I wasn't very effective, and I'm certainly not getting the results I want. And I think for a lot of agents who have that time block of lead gen in their calendar, that's exactly what's happening, isn't it?
Yep.
So would it be better to actually go to an exercise class where you have an instructor there telling you what to do every step of the way? All right, you're now going to do this. And then when you're done there, we're going to pivot and do this. And then we're going to pivot. We're going to do this and this and this. And then an hour later, you're out of there having accomplished a good workout, having been efficient, effective, seeing results. What if lead gen was like that?
Who doesn't want Legion to be like that, right? And that's why we developed this morning schedule because we saw this as an opportunity of exactly what we're sharing with you all, right? Is that it's overwhelming. We get paralysis by analysis. We don't actually accomplish what we set out to accomplish. And we start in our scroll mode or we mistake movement for achievement, right? Because we start putting out fires or we start going through and responding to emails. And so that's why we start off with, this 9 to 9:45, 15 database touches, right? So what does that look like, Aaron?
Yeah, so with our database touches, right, you can do it two ways. You can follow a DTD2 that we learn about in bold, or you can go alphabetical, right? For those of you that just prefer to start at the top and work your way towards the bottom. What you shouldn't do here, Emily, is shoot from the hip, right? You got to have one of those two plans. Either you're going to be DTD2 or you're going to be alphabetical. And these database touches, Emily, do we care how they get touched? Do we care? Is it a phone call? Is it an email? Is it a direct message? Right? Does it matter?
No.
No, what matters is the consistency that every day you're reaching out to 15 people from your database, checking in on them, their real estate needs, and who they might know that they could refer to you, correct?
Yep, that's exactly right.
Okay, so we only need, it only takes about 15 minutes, or excuse me, 45 minutes to make those 15 touches, right? Now, some of you talkers, it might take longer, okay? But here's what's so exciting about this. This flow, I call it the flow, right? Like you do like a yoga flow. This is your lead gen flow. The other reason we should mention that people don't do that lead gen, time block is because they think it has to be a grind. Like grind, grind, grind. This is not a grind. This is like a nice flow that we're doing each morning. But we're gonna take 45 minutes. We're gonna do those 15 touches, and then we're gonna take a break. Why are we taking a break right here after the database? Because for most of you, it might be traumatic, right? We acknowledge that, oh my gosh, I just had to spend 45 minutes making 15. You need a break. Trust me, you guys need a break, right? By now, we need to go reset ourselves, get some more coffee, use the restroom, right? Walk around the building, do whatever you got to do. But then we're going to come back at 10 o'clock, right? And then what are we going to do at 10 o'clock to make sure we're focused on listings?
Yeah, we're going to assemble 25 golden letters. So Aaron's going to show you his. And while he's doing that, a golden letter is essentially just a letter that is not marketing material. It is just a basic letter that says, dear homeowner, I have a client interested in your home. If you would accept a top dollar offer for your property please call me at. Pretty simple, right? You hand sign it. And yet again, Aaron, the number one reason why people aren't consistent with direct mail is because they don't do what?
They don't prepare ahead of time. So it takes less than 30 minutes a day to do 25 letters, right? Which is 125 a week, which is 500 a month, which we know have at minimum of a 1% response rate, which is 5 inbound seller calls a month. So if we just took 30 minutes a day to execute our letters, right? And like we said, this is not theory. I've got them right here. Yes, I've started using a label. You can hand address, but I'm testing. If you just did this consistently, that's 5 inbound seller leads every single month. But you do have to prepare ahead of time. So you do have to make sure that you've downloaded a list of people you're mailing to, you formatted it, you mail merged, such that all you have to do in that 30-minute block is print 25, right? Label it, stuff it, stamp it, off it goes. It takes me, Emily, 15 minutes a day to do 25 letters. That's it. Okay. Now we pivot. So we got our 25 letters done and now we pivot. Okay. What are we now pivoting to?
So now we go to one new professional that we are going to email. And we have a template for that. And it's very simple.
Yeah, because we want to get into relationship with more professionals that are out there on the front lines that come across clients that have real estate needs on an ongoing basis. Think estate planning attorneys, financial planners, CPAs, divorce. It goes on, right? All we care about is that you send an email each day to one new one, right? Because if you send one email a day, that's 5 a week. How many of those will respond back saying, sure, let's meet, let's get into relationship? What's our conversion on this email?
Yeah, it's 1 to 2 responses.
Yes, right? So very quickly, you can now start building a very good referral network, right? And it's a simple email, subject line, let's just pretend it's estate planning attorney, right? An estate planning attorney needed, right? Dear attorney, I sell real estate here in the XYZ area. I've had a lot of clients reaching out with estate planning questions. Are you taking on new clients and can we set up a time to chat? That's what the email looks like, right? And it has a 4-to-1 response rate. So like Emily said, if we send 5, we're going to get 1 to 2 responses back of attorneys or professionals that say, sure, let's meet. Why is it not 100%? Well, some of them are not taking on new clients. Some of them aren't interested in building out a referral network. That's okay. I don't care. There's enough professionals in your market that if you Google attorney, CPA, financial planner in your city, Google will give you a list of 40 for each of those buckets. So we were very generous, Emily. We've given them 15 minutes to send one email. The reality is, how long does this activity take?
A minute.
About a minute. About a minute. But hey, some people struggle. So we've given you 15 minutes, okay? All right. Now, like I said, think about the consistency, Emily. This would now be four to six new relationships a month we're building that by the end of 6 months, we've now got to critical mass of 25 professionals that we've now gotten into relationship with. That's 1 to 2 listing referrals every month from that group if you're following up with it.
Right.
And all this is one email a day. All right, so fine. It's 10:45. By now, we've done our 15 database touches. We've taken a break. We've got our 25 golden letters. Boom, done and dusted. We've got our email out to a new professional that will respond at some point. And now we're pivoting to what?
Now we're pivoting to pulling off markets. We're either going to add them to mail or call TCPA compliant, or door knock, right? And so off markets are expireds, cancels.
Yeah, so we're big believers, Emily, of not everyone wants to pick up a phone and grind out calls, correct? Many of
100%.
you, many of you would rather send them a letter. Many of you would rather just knock on their door, right? Or maybe we're going to find them on social media.
Yeah.
But we know that the off markets expired cancel listings is growing. This is how you and I cut our teeth back in the day, but there was a time where it was a little bleak because there were hardly any. But hey, this opportunity is coming back big time. And if you work in a specific geographic area, we're not saying you should drive all over town or whatnot, but if you work in a geographic area and you see a listing come off, why wouldn't you want to stop by and introduce yourself? Right? Why wouldn't you want to stop by because you saw a for sale sign, but hey, it's no longer showing up on the computer and find out what's going on?
Yeah.
Or send a letter and let them call you, right? Or send them a direct message because you hunted them down on social media and see if they'll respond to you that way. Or you can be old fashioned like us and make a call, TCPA compliant.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's really simple because here's why we want to do this every day with the new off markets, right? Is because 99% of the time, the day that something goes off market, the sign is still there. So if it is in your target market, meaning you have a geographical area that you farm or you like to do business in, or there's a specific area where you're looking to increase your average sales price in 2026, and you're going, okay, I want to take more listings in this price point, right? Those are the ones where drive by and just knock and just say, hey, I saw this sign out here. I do a lot of business in the area and I couldn't find it. Use the sign as leverage. It doesn't have to be, hey, or I want to, you to hire me to list your house, or are you currently interviewing additional agents? You guys don't have to be that direct. Just use the sign as leverage.
Yeah. And if you want to be that direct, by all means, go for it. Okay. So great. So we pulled that list. We got it. We're going to execute whichever way we like to communicate if you choose to do this. And then we're going to pivot to the farm. Now, Emily, we're big believers that we all live in a farm. We all live somewhere, correct?
Yep, that's right.
And why would we not want our neighbors to know what we do, right? Such that if we have anyone moving within our community, we're the go-to. So even if you don't take on farming as this big giant thing that's a pillar of your business, you should at least be farming your own neighborhood, correct? Your own subdivision, your own area,
Yep, that's right.
right? And so each day we should probably just check in on it to see, hey, did anything new get listed? Did anything go under contract? Is there any activity happening in the farm that I need to know about? Right? Such that, hey, if something new came on and, God forbid it wasn't with you, well, I should probably go preview it, right?
Yep.
Or whatever activities you might be doing. It's just an acknowledgement that if you have a farm, which you all do, you should probably look at it each day. And maybe, Emily, that 15 minutes is just blank time to say, what could I be doing if I'm doing nothing in my farm?
That's right.
All right. And then we pivot to the black hole of social media because it is a black hole. You guys know it. And that's why we put it last in terms of the lead generation. Because every day, at a bare minimum, Emily, they should be at least posting once a day. Would you agree?
Yep.
Now, it should be about real estate. I know you guys post what you eat all, hours of the day, but we should be doing at least one real estate post per day. And this does take a little bit of preparation, as everything does, right? So you do need to take some time if you want to be able to execute this in 15 minutes, right? Because if you haven't prepared, you're going to go down the black hole. But if you've taken some time at the beginning of the week or on the weekend on Sunday night to say, all right, there's four buckets I could post about in terms of real estate. I could actually do real estate, which is just listed, just sold, market trends, right? There could be local community content. Hey, what's happening locally here in our area that I could be posting about, right? Maybe you operate a niche. Maybe you like to do boomers downsizing or seniors transitioning, and there's stuff you could be posting about that, right? Or whatever other buckets you might want to choose, at least have four buckets, brainstorm each week on the different things that you could be posting about in those buckets, such that when 11:15 rolls around, all you have to do is look at your list, your ideas you put, pick one and go. Now, some of you want to make complicated spreadsheets that go out 90 days on posts and this and that and whatever. You can do that too, right, Emily?
Hmm?
But the key here is, did you think about it ahead of time? Did you think about it ahead of time for the week ahead or for the month ahead and write out your ideas in each of the buckets such that when it's time to post, you're good to go.
That's right.
You're good to go. And then once we've got out of that black hole, hopefully we get out of it, then we're wrapping up our morning flow with our lead follow-up, which we should all be taking our leads. And anyone who raises their hand, yes, we're thinking about buying or selling in the next 0 to 12 months. Emily, they should be in our CRM and they should have a task assigned to them, correct?
Right.
So what lead follow-up is just simply going to the CRM, pulling our tasks that are due today, completing them, assigning those people new tasks, and that's how we do follow-up. And
That's
for
right.
most of us, it shouldn't be more than 30 minutes. I mean, if we're on top of our people, right, we shouldn't have more than 30 minutes of follow-up each day. That's 2.5 hours a week of just follow-up. So how nice, Emily, if someone was there just telling you, each morning, do this, then this, then this, then this. And if we did this every day consistently, these small activities, right, they build upon each other, correct?
That's right.
And it's then the consistency, right, that's the key to producing the opportunities and then to generating the business. But if we don't have this consistency, then we're going to start and stop, and we're never going to gain traction.
Yeah, that's exactly right. And again, I do think that when we think of, okay, what's preventing you from doing this, as the comment in the chat, right? It sounds so simple. Why am I not doing it? We look at it and we go, well, does your calendar reflect this, or has your calendar reflected this, right? Are we specific? Are we preparing, right? Because back in shift, it talks about, you go prep, action, maintenance. And that's, we've got to prep such that we can get into action and execute, and then have maintenance, meaning your follow up, right? So that's all we're walking you through is that model. And yet, clear is kind, right? And with yourself, it's kind. It's knowing exactly what you're going to do. It's taking that, hour a week, or having an assistant or a virtual assistant or whatever prepare this for you. Oh, Aaron,
What? I'm still here. What'd I do?
screen.
No, it's still showing on mine.
Is it showing on? No, it's not.
No?
No.
All right, well, let me stop the share.
So that way we can get into action. So from there, okay.
Hold on, I'm coming.
Yep,
Is it back?
it's back.
Uh, uh,
You're back.
it never left my screen, just so you know.
That's okay. Aaron's our tech person. He does a
Oh,
great
please.
job running the slides.
Please.
Um, okay, so that's what that model is. So that's step one, right? Step one is preparation, get into action, maintain, because we know fortunes in the follow-up, right? So in order to be successful in quarter one, we start now, because what we do today shows up 90 days from now, right? Your month right now is preparing you for your January, right? So if you want to have a great quarter one, this starts now, which means we don't go, oh, but it's the holidays. Oh, I'm going to go to Target and grab, wrapping paper and stocking stuffers and all of that. No, we got to get into action, prioritize on the calendar, which
Yeah. Well, go ahead, Emily.
Go ahead.
No, I just got really excited because you said something yesterday answering the question. It's so simple. Why am I not doing it? Right? You said the phrase, which they say in technology all the time, friction point, right? What are the friction points that are getting in the way of you executing?
Mhm.
And I don't think we talk enough about the friction points because if we just take golden letters as an example, right? We've been talking about this for years. And I've had a lot of clients that same thing. Why am I not doing that? And then they commit to starting and then they don't get it done because they hit a friction point. And this was, by the way, the most popular friction point with golden letters was, how do I mail merge? How do I actually have it say, Dear Emily, right? Instead of Dear Owner. They couldn't take their Excel file, right, with the actual letter and mail merge it together. And I kept hearing that over and over and over again, right? It was a friction point. Now, it wasn't anything Google couldn't answer for you, but we are so busy in our real estate worlds that instead of slowing down to fix the friction point, we just move on to something else and we never get to it. So the answer to why am I not doing it mostly comes down to the preparation and seeing where the friction points are, addressing them such that you can do the morning flow. For
Right.
me to get out the door to do my 5:30 exercise class every day takes preparation the night before. Number one, to make sure my alarm is set and recheck it like 10 times. Number two, make sure I do, make sure my like clothes are set up, right? So I don't have to wake up my wife and the dog and everything, right? And so there's like preparation the night before such that I can execute to get there, to complete it, to be successful. And that's why we don't do things. We just don't prepare. Anyway, and that's why we have the course. We go through the preparation on all of this. This is the end result of making it look simple, but there's work that goes into it.
That's right.
Should we move on?
Yeah, let's go to
Talk
number
for days
two.
We could talk for days on this. Okay.
I know. Okay, so in order for us to have a successful quarter one when it comes to listings, understanding the market from a macro and a micro standpoint is so key because I don't know if any of you are like me sometimes. However, sometimes I can be dramatic in how I'm feeling about something based on how I feel versus what's actual facts, right? Oh, nothing's selling. Oh, not, the market's slowed down. This, blah, 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 blah. You all know, I'm sure I'm not the only one that has felt that way. And then you go to the facts and is that 100% true? So let's start at this with the macro, which is national. So when we look at this, home sales annually, right? So if I were to explain this, when people say, how's the market, right? Or if I want to create a MOFR for people to act urgently, and we use this, Aaron, in our listing consultation, right? So when we look at this, this is just the number of homes in millions that have sold year over year since 1990, okay? People like visuals. It's not your opinion, it's not how you feel. People like to know that what you're saying is true and it's factual, which is why we like to put the facts in front of them. Okay. You see it to believe it. Okay. So in 2005, oh, go back, Aaron.
Oh,
Thank you.
sorry.
And that's okay. In 2005, you'll see that we had the height of number of properties sold, right? At 7.1 million. See that? Everyone give me a thumbs up. I want to make sure that we're following. Yep. Cool. Okay, cool. All right. Then we saw that the great, market decline, right? The housing recession, you'll hear people say between the years of 2006 to 2009 usually. And what happened? We had significant drop off, right? Actually, from 2006 to 2007 was still to date the largest decline in number of home sales since 1990, as you can see at 1.5 million, right? And then we bottomed out in 2008, right? And then we kind of stayed a little, steady, and then it started to go back up. Okay. Well, what's happening? Look at 2021, right? We were all loving the market in 2020, 2021, weren't we?
No one was here in this training, I can promise you that.
So from there, right, as listing agents, maybe not. So from there, then we go, and what happened in 2022? We dropped, right? And look, does that look familiar? Yes. Okay. Now here's the interesting thing for a seller, Aaron, is you and I know that the number one thing that matters most to a seller is the net, right? It's how much money that they walk away with. Can we all agree on this call that money matters when it comes to sellers? Yes. So here's the interesting thing. Go to the next slide, please. So remember that drop from from 2006 to 2007? I want you guys to see 2006 was the height of home prices. But look, in 2007, it didn't even drop. See, because the number of home sales is the leading indicator to the market, the pricing is the lagging indicator, meaning it takes time for the market to correct itself. Can we all agree? It takes time to catch up, right, to what's happening. It happens sudden, or it's slow and then it's sudden, right? It's like that hockey stick effect. Okay, we didn't even bottom out. So remember, we bottomed out in number of home sales in what year? 2008. We didn't bottom out in pricing until 2011. So here's the thing. It took from the height of the market in pricing to 2006, it took 9 years to get back to where they were, which is why in shift, and as Gary talks about, the real estate market typically cycles every 7 to 10 years. This is the facts behind that, because you can say that, but it doesn't mean that someone's going to understand it, right? Which is why we like to share the data. And then you can see that if history were to repeat itself, what would happen with prices in 2026? We're already starting to see it, aren't we, Aaron? We're already starting to see markets soften, right? Really, unless you're in the New England area and then you're rocking and rolling. but we're starting to see prices soften, right? Across the country. And so again, there are economic factors that impact this, right? And I don't have a crystal ball. I wish I did. If I did, gosh, we would all make a lot more money, right? Who wouldn't love to predict the market and time the market? Unfortunately, that's just not a reality. However, can we all agree that history does tend to repeat itself?
Mhm.
Yeah. So if I were considering selling my property, the question that I would ask is, and if I'm saying, well, I want to wait on the market or I want to wait and see, well, are you willing to, we're 2, 3 years into this. Are you willing to wait another 5 to 7 years? You see how that drives that urgency of them going, well, gosh, no, I can't. I'm not waiting that long, right? Oh, I'll just rent it for a year, Aaron. I'll just rent it. I'll hold it and rent it for a year. Well, what's got you based on this? What has you believing that a year from now it's going to be better?
Emily, I think that question 5 to 7 years would get someone's attention to know, well, what are you talking about?
That's right. You're spot
Yeah,
on.
yeah, the minute you ask someone, because we hear this a lot, right? Well, I'll just take it off the market and I'll try next year. I'll just take it off the market and rent it. Well, for how long? What are you seeing that's causing you to believe that the market will be better, 12 months from now? They're not saying anything. They just, no one's questioned them or planted any doubt in their mind yet that's caused them to think about it. This, yeah, to your point, is causing them to now actually think hard about it, which is the whole point.
Yeah, that's exactly right. And then inventory monthly, right? What do we hear sellers say all the time? Oh, I'm going to pull it off over the holidays and wait until the spring, right? Well, from a supply and demand standpoint, if you look at the first quarter of the year and the fourth quarter of the year, what happens with inventory historically?
It's the lowest time of the year.
Lowest
Go
time of the year. Less supply typically equals what?
less competition.
More demand, right? The less supply equals more demand, right? The less competition, the better chance that you have at making more money. I'm curious, Mr., and Mrs. Seller, how many other people in your position, knowing that, there are also 13 other properties currently for sale in your area, how many of them do you think are considering pulling it off the market and waiting until spring? Right? It's all just giving them perspective. And then they go, oh, but I'll make more money in the spring. So, Aaron, if we go to the next slide, is that 100% true? Right? How many home sales actually happen, right? Let's go back to Q4 and Q1. More home sales happen because there's less inventory.
Well, I think this slide right here, for any of those sellers that you guys are coming across right now that want to wait until next year or pull it off or not put it on, this slide combined with the last slide is the most powerful information we have at our fingertips. Because when we see that in 2024, home sales increased in the fourth quarter, home sales went up in the fourth quarter. It was the strongest quarter of the year. And when we now look at 2025 and we look at what the market's been doing so far compared with 2024, it's a mirror image. It's exactly the same trend. And even Gary has acknowledged that we'll probably see another strong fourth quarter, right, this year. We're in it right now. So all of a sudden, we see buyer activity going up. We see listing inventory coming down. This is the way that I've been phrasing it, Emily, and I was working with the team on this yesterday, right? It's a three-pronged approach, right? Number one question is, well, Mr. or Mrs. Seller, did you know that the fourth quarter is shaping up to be the strongest quarter of home sales so far this year? And in fact, right, did you also know that we're seeing inventory starting to come down, right? Which is natural for this time of the year. What if we could put your home on the market now and actually get more money for it versus waiting until next year? Right? So question one is, hey, did you know this information? Question two is, well, what if we could actually get you more money? And now we go for the close. Why don't we come over, or why don't we set up a time now? We'll share with you what we're seeing, and then from there you can decide what's best.
That's right.
So that three-pronged approach of taking this information of did you know, well, what if, now close, is so powerful. They have no idea. The minute you put this in front of them, they're like, really? I didn't know that. Sure.
That's right.
That's how they say it. No. All right. So what should we be tracking?
Yeah. So from a localized standpoint, right? So we just went through macro, which is national, right? Now we're going to go into your local. So what should we be looking at every single week from a local standpoint? Now, some of you, your market centers track this for you. Some of you can utilize your admin to track this for you, or virtual assistants. And some of you, it's just good for you to track it yourself, right? Because the goal is to be the local economist of choice. In order to do that, you got to know what's going on. Fair? So when we look at this, month supply, less than 5 months of month supply, you're in a seller's market. 5 to 7 months supply, you're in a balanced market. And anything over 7, you're in a buyer's market. So again, perspective it's so important, because some of us can feel like we're in a buyer's market. I was talking to a client earlier today who's in Florida, and they're like, he's like, man, my agents are feeling like we're in a buyer's market. But you want to know what's interesting? We're at 4.1 month supply. We're in a seller's market, and their perspective is because things are taking longer to sell, right? So it's a perspective. Is it 100% true? How do your sellers feel, right? Do they, well, I think it's a buyer's market, or I read online that, buyers aren't buying, and, it's a better time to be a buyer than a seller. Well, hey, I can appreciate that. And yet, did you know that here locally, we're actually in a strong seller's market? And here's what that means, right? Average days on market. Average days on market is important so you can see trends. What we don't want to get in the trap of is thinking that your average is the average days on market, because the average days on market is merely just the time it takes for an average agent to sell a house in that area. Did they hire an average agent? Are you an average agent? No, no, no. Average list price to sales price ratio. This is great perspective. What are we listing them at? What are they selling for? Average showings per listing, number of price reductions, right, that are happening, which again, we're significantly seeing more price adjustments, aren't we? And that goes into where it's swaying that average list price to sales price number two, right? Because used to it was like 103% or 101%, and everyone was over 100%, right? And now we're seeing that number drastically go down because of the number of reductions and so forth. Number of new listings, expireds, canceled, pendings.
Yeah, and listen, you might find your local market is trending different than the national numbers, and or you might find a local community might be, tracking different than your local market, which might be different than the national. So keep in mind, that's why you have to look at it, and you might have to look at it, not just two ways, but three ways, right? Macro, micro, super micro.
Hyper local.
Thank you. Hyper. I like super micro. All right. All right. But listen, here's the other, just to put a bow on this, Emily. When we know the numbers, we now are the economist of choice. We are now the authority on what's happening out there. So when we have a tough seller in front of us who is being hard-headed about price, and here we are with all the data from an economic point of view, what it does is it now makes us the authority on pricing, not them. They're more apt to listen to you when they know that we understand the numbers to this level than when we're just, I think, I feel, maybe, right? This is how you become the authority. This is how you get that hard-headed client to come around to, right, the market reality.
Yep, that's exactly
Yeah.
right.
All right. So the power of pricing. Oh, we could
All right.
talk for days on this one too.
Yeah, this is our third tip for you all. This is our third tip. So the danger of overpricing in a shifted market. How many of you are seeing overpriced listings in your market? Yeah. All right, Aaron, walk us through this slide.
Okay. So how many of you have had a seller where you go through the CMA and it says one thing, but they want to push it. They want to try. To which point, yes, John probably has lots of them. All right. To which point, right, it ends up costing them money in the long run, because this is what happens. And this is the visual we have to put in front of them. So if hypothetically speaking, the market's telling us we should be at 500, right? For most markets, we're probably going to sell within 2 to 3% of that price, correct? So in a shifting market, which is slowly starting to shift down, we put a home on the market at 500, it will probably sell at 490 if that's what the market's telling us should be priced at. Fair?
Mm-hmm.
Now, here's the challenge with that seller that wants to try it at 525. You see, what's going to happen is we're going to put it on the market at 525. And then we're going to get out there 2, 3, 4 weeks, and they're going to finally realize that we were right. Well, it was really the market was right. 525 is too high. And they'll say, okay, fine. Let's reduce it down to the price you said it should be at, which is what the market said it should be at, which is 500.
Mm-hmm.
Which, okay, we do. The problem is the market has since moved away from them because it's slowly shifting down. So now all of a sudden, 500 is not good enough. So now we waste another 2 or 3 weeks on the market and we end up selling it for 475, which is $15,000 less than if we would have priced it right to begin with. So by overpricing it, right, we're selling it for less later rather than more now. So this is counterintuitive. A lower asking price will result in a higher sales price. And that's what this chart is showing. If we price it right, we will get more money for it. If we overprice it, you will chase the market down and ultimately sell it for less later. let's do the smart thing. Let's do the right thing. Let's get it priced right so we can get you on and off the market as quickly as possible, which means you will net the most money. Let's
Yeah,
not fall into the trap of overpricing and chasing the market down. Go ahead.
that's right. And yeah, well, Aaron, I think it's, when you have a seller that says, well, can we just try it? And then the question back is, well, let me ask you, would you rather negotiate your price up or down? Well, what do you mean? Or, well, up. Well, and then you go through this, right? And I think that that's the power, because you cannot underprice a home, y'all. It is not possible. Because what happens if a house is underpriced?
It's going to attract a lot of activity and it's going to get bid up to market value.
That's exactly right. Because pricing, like value, is like water. It's always going to find its natural level.
So there's no danger in underpricing because it will self-correct. Yet
That's
there's
right.
severe danger in overpricing because you might lose money.
Bingo.
So do you really, seller, want to roll the dice? It's their decision. We're
That's right.
putting the facts in front of them. Do you want to roll the dice and potentially lose money? Or do you want to do the smart play, which is price it where the market says it needs to be?
Yeah. Yeah, because they hired you to sell it, not to list it. That's the reality. And sometimes we have to remind them of that.
And for most, they need to see the visual. We used to, back in the dinosaur days, Emily, we used to actually draw this out on a piece of paper for them. And we would, we would do this. I created this myself, very proud of myself in whatever graphic, but we used to actually draw it out freehand to
Yep.
make the point. And they follow along, they understand it, but they needed the visual because the words don't always land the way they need to. When they can
Yeah,
see it, they better understand it. So we should all have this graph, and you can put in whatever numbers are appropriate for your market. This should be in your repertoire such that when you're out there, if you need to pull it out, you can.
that's right. All right.
All right, what do we have for the fine agents today?
Okay, so if this resonated with you, any part of it, and you're like, man, I want the play by play on the schedule. I want to know how exactly to do what they just said. I want the templates. I want the system. I want the friction points eliminated into place. Take More Listings Now. That's the first QR code. We launch Wednesday, November 5th. So instead of taking additional time off the holidays, right, leaning into this such that you all have the best quarter one, because that's what you're here today to do, is to have the best quarter one that you possibly can have. That's that, right? If you're struggling on converting sellers from consultation to signature, meaning you meet with them, your listing appointment to take-in ratio is not where it needs to be, or you're getting a lot of objections, or you're struggling with pricing, convert sellers to closing. That we give you all of this that we've went over. We give you all the templates. We give you all of our dialogues and conversations. Everything is immediate plug and play. So we launch, it's the first 3 weeks of November and then the first 3 weeks of December. So we wrap up prior to, we're off Thanksgiving. We wrap up prior to the holidays. Every session is recorded and available for playback, and you get the playbooks for every single session. So if you're sitting here today going, gosh, what's preventing me? I need to do this. Come join us. Invest in yourself. You all are your best investment that you can ever make. The only thing you have to do is execute. We'll give you all the tools and the training.
Great question. Should you take one before the other?
Actually, most of our people take them simultaneously because we run Wednesday, Thursday. We actually have a special. I'm going to put the code in here for you guys. Should you want to take this and you want to take both, MLA 20 is a discount code. It'll give you 20% off both. That's a holiday promotion. So when we launch again in 2026, that will not be valid. But we are doing that holiday promotion for you all to get 20% off when you are enrolled in both. The reason why we run them simultaneously, though, I'll just share with you all, is because when you actually execute on Take More Listings Now, you will start generating more seller appointments. And then you're going to go, well, wait a second. What can you share with me your presentation? Can you share with me your consult? Can you share with me this? And that's what we were having happen. So we were having all these agents execute, their listing appointments are increasing, right? And they're going, but I want your consultation. I want your presentation. I want your pre-list. I want this. So we actually broke them up instead of a 12-week course, because I don't know if you're like me, but also attention span wise, 12 weeks was way too long. So we broke them up and we're like 6 weeks, right? Side by side, all recorded. It is also live. You get access to our Facebook group. So a community of mega listing agents that also our support and referral network, and access to us that entire time that you are in our program to ask us questions directly. So we answer every single question that we get, whether it's something that we've covered or we've yet to cover, we answer it, because our whole goal of this is for you all to go take your unfair share. The market is shifting. The transactions are shifting. I'm sure you all are seeing it in your markets, right? So it's really just, how do you increase your market share? And that's what we set you up for success to do in this training. So we trust that this was helpful. Was this helpful? Did you guys get some good stuff? Yes? Okay, awesome. And we would love to partner with you in taking more listings and converting sellers to closings. So scan, sign up, and we will see you in November. Bye,
See you,
everyone.
everybody.